I'm going to call the meeting to order. I'd like to welcome everybody from the public and open the meeting to comment if anybody would like to speak. Nobody wishing to speak, we'll move on. You've all received a copy of the minutes. Do I have a motion to approve?
Nope. Just a minute, Randy. Hold on. No, I'm looking for the, that's the agenda.
It's right
Hank,
under-
Hank.
Thank you. Pardon?
Motion by Marion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Henry. Any corrections, changes, deletions, additions? If none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? So moved. Chairman's report. In interest of brevity today, since I know we have a very full day ahead of us, I'll pass and go right over to CEO's report.
Okay, the first thing I have on the agenda is, in our last work session, we've created a policy use for public entities. I've created a resolution. Mr. Chairman, would you like me to?
I'll read. The Park Board of Directors stipulate this policy in dealing with the County of Clinton, Town of Plattsburgh, City of Plattsburgh, that for public benefit use, the following formula will be utilized in determining the value of real property up to 50,000 square feet to be transferred by lease or fee simple title conveyance. The rental amount shall be the same as that charged to Park by the U.S. Air Force, plus a CAM charge or common area maintenance charge of 25 to 50 cents per square foot, based on the size and location of the property. B, the purchase price of the property shall be the sum of all rents paid prior to transfer of the title to your minimum, plus the total of any improvements and an additional fee of $1. C, the CAM charge shall be paid to Park for leased or purchased properties until such time as a municipality establishes a taxing jurisdiction for the property. And D, utility costs, i.e. heat, electricity, water, sewer, natural gas, and maintenance costs shall be paid for by the tenant occupant. Do I have a motion to put it on the,
I'll move.
okay, I have a motion.
Second.
Second by Marion. Any discussion? Peter?
Well, maybe just to clarify what's going on. The county requested from us that we allow them to occupy two buildings, Building 104 and Building 2010, at no cost. And we submitted a letter to the Air Force requesting the same. And at this point in time, the Air Force came back and said that they would discount the space from a fair market value of $5 a square foot down to $175. So we've gone back to the county at that point and said, look, we'll pass along exactly what we're getting, but we can't subsidize anything, which they really weren't asking us to, but we had to make that clear. And at this point, we've gone back to the Air Force again, saying that we're still trying to get it for nothing. But we had to come up with a formula so that let's say the town or city would request something also in the future. We're going to use the 50,000 square foot as a max for free or pass along space. And basically the same formula. If we get it for free, the municipality would have it for free. If we have to pay 50 cents, we have to convey the 50-cent charge. But at least it's a standard formula that we can relate to all three municipalities and say, have at it. That's basically where it's derived from.
That's very fair. Just to let everyone know, the county legislature had a meeting last Friday. We were trying to obtain from the Air Force whether or not they would allow the county to take possession of those buildings in lieu of rent. Their contribution to rent would be the the P&M, okay? The upgrades on the building, which the county is anticipating to exceed the value of the rent for the first year or two, to just upgrade the air conditioning and some wiring and a few other things. The Air Force was unable to give us a response on Friday, but we're told that we'll have an answer on that issue today or tomorrow at the latest. But John Haru and his staff upstairs have been diligently working with the people in Washington to try to achieve that goal for us.
Does that address this policy then, Dean?
No, that,
No.
it'll never be policy, it'll be, every building has to stand on its own merit, if I'm correct. Betty, is that true? Each building will have to stand on its own, right, as we present
Yep.
each lease? Yes.
Any other questions, discussion? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? So moved.
The next order of business, which I have, is in our last work session, we reviewed a request from Don Oxford from Lake Forest Senior Living, and I expressed to you that due to the delays in the project, because of the preservation of the historic site, the project will not be as far along as they had anticipated by the end of the year. Therefore, I asked the board for permission to do an addendum to their lease, which would push the starting date back to the spring, so that not to harm or cause financial problems to this retirement community.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Sandy,
I'll second.
second by Peter. Any questions, discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
To bring you up to date, where we are with the Bouye property. As you know, when we went ahead with the rail link project, the Air Force had put out for sale land that was classified as contiguous land, which included Arizona Avenue, which would have added a cost of several $100,000 to our rail link project. We have now gone back to the Bouyes, and they have agreed that they will start the title process to their property, but in turn will give PARC back a permanent land use and transfer of Arizona Avenue and Property C. And what PARC will do is, if you look at your maps, alternate 1 and 2 are being considered, and a parcel equivalent to a few acres over here south of it, depending upon the total number of acreage, including Arizona. At the same time, PARC would agree, if we were going to widen Arizona Avenue, that we would do it to the east side on parcel C. So that's pretty much where we're at. The next, when we get to a final, I've asked their attorney, Mr. Favreau, to give us a letter on what they're proposing, and we'll take it to the marketing committee for review. We received a letter from the junior class at Plattsburgh High School. Due to the renovations that are currently going on at the high school, they've requested permission to use one of the buildings on the park property for the junior prom, as the gymnasium at the school and the hallways and the parking are totally under construction, and they would like to come out and look. The building that I would consider giving them, which I think would be easiest for us to prepare if we would consider this, would be the recreation center, which has the stage and the dance floor already in it. We could block off certain sections of the building and allow them to use it.
What's been our policy in the past
It's been our policy, is that?
What?
for this type of thing?
I think in the past, Robin, we've helped organizations out who were in a bind, correct?
So moved.
Where do we sit, excuse me, where do we sit for liability here if somebody was to get in an accident?
Well, we would handle it the same way. We would have to go to the Air Force to give permission to use it. They would have to provide us with a certificate of insurance, which I'm sure the school system, school district has, okay? And the whole thing would be handled on a short-term lease, because they probably have to be in there a couple weeks to prepare, have their affair, and then clean up. So we would handle it as the same thing, and it might even be a good learning experience for the class officers to make them work that process. So they know it's just not walk up to the table and ask for something and get it.
They'll never want to leave school and go to the real world.
Well, that's a good lesson, right?
Do I have a motion
Yes,
by
Joe.
Dan?
Yes.
Fine.
I'll second.
Second by Peter. Any other discussion or comment? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
We received and have had a meeting recently from Adirondack Kitchen, okay? You've been passed a letter along from David Evans, who is the new chairman, president of Adirondack Kitchen. The Adirondack Kitchen, as we have known it in the past, with participation by the Cornell Cooperative Extension, okay, has ended, okay? Therefore, a new group is being formed and would like to continue on as Adirondack Kitchen. We've met with them along with the USDA, because PARC is the grant conduit in this operation. We do the applications for the funding, and we are responsible for the funding. So we're trying to figure out how to close out the grants and make the process move forward. USDA would like to see the process continue, so we've scheduled another meeting with we're going to request the Community College Extension Cooperative, the Cornell Extension Group, the management of the previous Adirondack Kitchen, and the new people to determine how we can make this go forward. And I was just trying to make the board aware of it, that we are very actively involved with this because we are managers of the grant funding.
Let me see. I thought we were disinterested at some point in time here.
Pardon me?
I thought we had discussed before that we were sort of had enough of this.
Well,
They still owe us $20,000?
well, the Adirondack Kitchen has been there for a year, okay? And they have not paid any rent, okay? The grant funding that was available, because PARC is the grant manager, they cannot pay themselves. Therefore, they've had a hard time getting this project off the ground, okay? And the building currently is empty, but that's why I've requested a meeting to sit down with all the participants and figure out how we're going to go forward. And I feel that PARC should no longer be involved with the day-to-day operation as a grant administrator. They need to administrate their own grants, okay, so that if they're going to live on grant funding, we can be reimbursed for our rent.
So
okay?
they've abandoned the facility?
Yes, they have. And
So-
they've turned in the keys, we've done our walkthrough, okay? And if we go forward, it'll have to be a new lease on a new presentation,
Good.
and they'll have to go to our marketing group, because now it'll go to our marketing committee first, and then come to the board for approval, and hopefully we can help them,
Oh, okay.
structure it.
I just was worried we were getting back with the,
No.
okay.
Just to bring the board up to date on our process with the IDA. The IDA has made its formal application to become the local reuse authority. The next step, when we receive acknowledgement that that has taken place, we will submit a suggestion on a new draft, okay? Because the ROD, on the new draft ROD, the ROD currently in place says that PARC had until December 1998 to become an authority. Because we're not traveling down that road and we're going to go through the IDA process, we have two drafts which suggest on how to transfer title and to extend this period out to October of 2000, which would take us, give us almost another whole year plus, okay, to complete this work. But the draft RODs are prepared, and as soon as we hear back that it has been confirmed that the IDA has been acknowledged as the local reuse, then we will make a trip to Washington and request that Rod 3 be replaced with Rod 4. And we will be evaluating which process we want to go with here. At the same time, we will ask Dory from the IDA to help read these through and so she has an understanding of what we're doing. Okay. We have a resolution to pass, which is adding another, first of all, the resolution is to renew our cafeteria plan for our employees, and second of all, to add an insurance company, a new carrier to the plan. Okay? Mr. Chairman?
The undersigned Secretary of Plattsburgh Air Base Redevelopment Corporation, the corporation hereby certifies that the following resolutions were duly adopted by the Board of Directors of the corporation on blank, and of that such resolutions have not been modified or rescinded as of the date. Resolved that amended number 2 to the cafeteria plan effective January 1st, 1999, presented to this meeting, is hereby approved and adopted at the proper offices of the corporation are hereby authorized and directed to execute and deliver to the administrator of the plan one or more counterparts of the amendment. Resolved that the proper office of the corporation shall act as soon as possible to notify employees of the corporation of the adoption of this amendment number 2 to the cafeteria plan by delivering to each employee a copy of the summary description of the changes to the plan in the form of the summary plan description material modification presented to this meeting, which form is hereby approved. The undersigned further certifies that attached hereto as exhibits A and B respectively are true copies of amendment 1 and 2 of amendment number 2 to Plattsburgh Air Base Redevelopment Corporation cafeteria plan and summary plan description material modifications approved and adopted in the foregoing resolution.
So what'd you say, Randy?
I don't know.
I need a lawyer.
That's right. What kind of lawyer out there?
Tell us again in one sentence, Dan.
Basically, what we're doing is
Jesus.
we're adding another company to our cafeteria plan and extending the plan forward.
Very good.
You're not changing, are you changing the plan?
understand
now.
There is no change to the
There is no change to the
plan.
plan.
Okay. Basically, there's no change to the plan, we're, okay. Do I have a motion? Motion by Gary.
Second,
I feel like I can abstain, but I won't.
Any
Under
discussion?
protest.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, so moved.
Okay. The next thing that I'd like to do is just bring you up to date where we are in our central heat plant. Everything is moving along fine. The last group of boilers has arrived. The buildings where we have tenants in, because we've got another break over the weekend with the temperature, but it looks like next week isn't going to be so kind to us. We do have temporary heating in the units where we're still doing the installation. We resolved all the contracts, all the differences, and we're proceeding along on schedule.
How many do we have finished?
We have 3 or 4 of them done of each group, some in each group,
Okay.
okay, by each contractor.
Good.
I'd like permission from the board to negotiate a contract sale of our electric services with NISAC. We've discussed this in our work session. There's no permanent documentation at this point in time. We've outlined some of the conditions of the sale, and I would just like permission from the board to continue with that and try to get a signed contract or a contract to present to the board in the near future.
Yeah, I don't think we don't need a vote on that, but somebody has an objection.
Okay. And last on my agenda is a resolution. Bruce, I'll let Bruce Stedman explain this because it has to do with the EDZ. It's a resolution to commit funding on behalf of PARC.
EDZ requires, the guidelines require PARC to commit via resolution the matching funds. So this is a resolution doing that. It's almost as dry as the previous.
You don't have to read it.
Thank you, I'm not going to read this one.
For the record, there's 3 whereases and 3 resolved. Seriously, if you want me to read it, I'd be happy to.
Oh, thank you.
I don't think it's necessary. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Gary,
Second.
second by Henry. Any questions, discussion? All those in favor? Oop.
No.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, so moved.
And Mr. Chairman, the balance of my report has to do with tenants, leases, and information that should be conducted in private session.
Okay.
Executive session.
Okay.
What's that, Mary?
March 4th, or what
That-
was it?
Marketing
That
reports.
was
That was the NICEAG.
Okay, right. That'd be more marketing reports to do.
It's up to you.
Okay. Let's go to reports of the different divisions. Marketing, Karen? Where is she?
It's not here.
Yes, she is.
Oh, there she is. Okay. We have Karen's report, it's sent out.
Yeah, these are in here. I think they're in here. Do you want to highlight anything, Karen? or-
Karen, do you want to highlight anything on your report?
If not, we'll accept it.
Yes,
Accept
in
it.
executive session, please.
Okay.
Okay.
Special projects, Robin? I'm sorry, I'm jumping around here. Special projects, Mr. Burns.
Bob Burns.
Bob, do you have anything you want to highlight or anything? Thank you. Finance and Administration.
As chairman,
I'll go to the chairman of the committee on that one, sorry.
well, as chairman of the Finance Committee, I wish to announce, in addition to the PARC team, please join me in welcoming Mark Poirier, who brings with him vast experience and excellent background in accounting. Mark will be in the position of PARC Controller and assist Dan in all finance areas. Again, I'd like to welcome Mark, and I'm certainly looking forward to working with you, and we're glad to have you here.
Welcome aboard, Mark. Okay, special events, Robin. Executive session, okay. Special projects, building and grounds, Art. Nothing, okay, and tenant services. Bill, I don't think
Bill
Bill's.
is absent today.
Okay. Peter, under committee reports, or let me go back to finance first. Henry, do you have anything else you want to?
No other report.
Okay. Peter, marketing committee.
Just to bring you up, the only really recent thing we've done, we had a nice, a meaningful session with the Development Corporation and still discussing the possibilities of how we can work together to expand their industrial park on PARC's property, and to see if, well, we're looking at actually 2 or 3 different options right now, and we're waiting at this point for a proposal from the Development Corporation that we can analyze and bring back to the board, and hopefully they're going to help us expedite our process here, and that's what we're looking forward to. That's probably the main thing, and a reminder that the 28th we have another session. So,
Okay,
well
very
said.
good. Any old business? Any new business?
Look for a motion to go
I
to
need
executive
to-
session?
and give me 1 second. I'd like to open the meeting back up to public comment. Is anybody from the public wish to speak? If not, Gary?
Motion for executive session for leasing matters.
Okay, I have a motion from Gary for executive session. Do I have a second? Second by Henry. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? So moved. Take a 10-minute break.